Have you ever sat in a quiet room and wondered, how did I end up here? Maybe you've looked around, listened to the beeping machines, the hallway chatter, the nurses bustling about, and thought, this isn't what I imagined for the final chapters of my life. I know that feeling. Not because someone told me about it, but because I lived it. Moving into a nursing home felt like the right decision at first. It was safe, structured, and I wasn't alone. That's what they told me. That's what I told myself. But slowly, day by day, I began to understand that what I had stepped into was more than just a change of address. It was the slow unraveling of my independence, my voice, and in many ways, my very spirit. I want to share with you 6 hard truths I learned the painful way. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to speak with you like an old friend over a cup of tea, because someone should have told me this before I packed up my things and handed over the keys to my own life. You deserve to know what I wish I had known. Let's begin with the first truth, and it hits hard. You lose your freedom, but you don't realize it until it's gone. It doesn't happen all at once. At first, you're still choosing what to wear, what to eat, when to wake up. But gradually, those choices get shaped by schedules, routines, and rules that weren't designed with you in mind. Breakfast is at a set time, even if you don't feel hungry. Lights out is when someone else decides the day is over. And if you want to take a walk outside, you need to ask. Ask permission. Like a child. You'd be shocked how quickly your identity starts to blur. You're not Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so anymore. You're a room number. A medication schedule. A name on a clipboard. And people stop seeing you, really seeing you, for who you are. They don't know the years you spent raising children, fighting wars, building homes, surviving losses. You've lived through decades. But inside those walls, it can feel like none of it matters anymore. And here's the part that stings the most. You start to believe it too. You catch yourself thinking, maybe this is what I deserve now. Maybe I'm too old to fight for anything different. That's the danger. The slow erasure of your will. I don't say that to be dramatic. I say it because it happened to me. One day, I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the person looking back. I was dressed in clothes I didn't choose, eating meals I didn't like, sitting in a chair placed for me, staring out of a window I didn't open. The second hard truth is that loneliness doesn't disappear in a crowded place. You might assume, like I did, that being around other residents would mean constant company. It's a beautiful idea. Seniors chatting in the lounge, playing cards, reminiscing. And yes, sometimes it happens. But most of the time, it's quiet. Too quiet. People keep to themselves. Some are too tired, some are withdrawn, and some have already given up. I remember walking past rooms where the TV played to no one. Hallways where wheelchairs sat facing blank walls. The loneliness in a nursing home isn't loud. It's not crying or sobbing. It's silence. It's the absence of touch, of genuine conversation, of being known by someone. Staff come and go. Residents come and go. And you start to wonder if anyone would really notice if you just faded away. It's hard to make new friends when you're surrounded by sadness. That's not to say everyone is miserable. There are beautiful souls, good-hearted caregivers, and occasional laughter. But overall, it's a place where people come to decline. And being around that, day after day, seeps into your own energy. You start to lose the spark that makes life feel worth living. And what makes it worse is the guilt. Because deep down, you feel like you should be grateful. You're safe, you're cared for, you're not on the streets. But gratitude shouldn't be a prison sentence. You can be thankful and still mourn what you lost. You can smile politely while aching inside. Now, I want to be clear, not all nursing homes are bad. Some do their best. Some really try. But even the best facility can't replace what makes life truly rich: autonomy, connection, dignity. And when those things go missing, it's not just sad. It's dangerous. Because what's left is a shell of a life. Routine without joy. Structure without soul. I remember one morning, I asked a nurse if I could skip lunch and just have tea and toast later in the day. She smiled kindly, but said no, that wasn't allowed. It'll mess with your meds, she said. And just like that, I was reminded, I wasn't the one in charge anymore. Not even over a cup of tea. This isn't just about me. I've talked to dozens of people in homes like these, And their stories echo mine. Some don't want to admit it. Some are afraid to speak up. But when the staff leave and the halls go quiet, the truths come out in whispers. Regret, frustration, and sometimes despair. But here's the thing I need you to hear. If you're still at home, if you're still deciding whether this path is right for you, pause. Breathe. Think carefully. Because once you step into that world, it's not so easy to step back out. People will tell you it's for your safety, your health, your best interest. But what about your heart? What about your spirit? Don't let anyone, not your family, not a doctor, not even yourself, make you believe that being old means being controlled. That needing help means giving up your soul. Yes, you may need support. Yes, it's harder to move around, cook, or remember things. But that doesn't mean you should trade freedom for convenience without fully knowing the cost. We've talked about what it means to lose your freedom, and what it feels like to be surrounded by people, yet lonelier than ever. But we're not done yet. Because there's more things I wish someone had warned me about. Things that go deeper than just the surface problems. Let's keep going. There's something people rarely talk about, and that's how quickly your health can decline after moving into a nursing home. You might think it's the opposite. That once you're under professional care, you'll feel better, stronger, more secure. But the truth is much more complicated and far more painful. When you stop doing things for yourself, not because you can't, but because others start doing them for you, your body starts to forget how to function. It's subtle at first. You sit more. You walk less. You stop bending to pick things up. You stop reaching, lifting, even thinking too hard, because everything's already set up for you. And it feels like a kindness at first. But it slowly turns into a trap. I remember the day I realized I couldn't get out of the chair without help. Not because my legs were gone, but because they hadn't been used. My muscles had grown weaker, not from illness, but from stillness. The home was efficient, too efficient. My bed was made. My pills were brought. My laundry done. I didn't have to lift a finger, and so I stopped. This is the third hard truth. When you give up your responsibilities, your body and mind start to follow. I saw it happen all around me. People who once managed their own homes, cooked their own meals, took care of themselves, reduced to a passive existence. It doesn't happen because they're lazy. It happens because the system is designed that way. To keep things simple. To reduce risk. But in doing so, it also strips away every opportunity for strength, movement, and personal growth. And it's not just physical. Mentally, things start to shift. When every decision is made for you, you stop making decisions at all. You forget how. You become hesitant, doubtful, afraid of even small choices. What to eat, what to wear, whether to go to the activity room or stay in bed. And when you stop making choices, you stop feeling alive. Because being alive isn't just about breathing, it's about deciding, acting, creating. Now, let me tell you something even harder to admit. And it might sting. But you deserve to hear it, not to scare you, but to prepare you. People forget you. They do. Your children. Your friends. Even the ones who promise to visit every week. At first, there's a lot of attention. Calls. Cards. Visits. People feel guilty. But over time, life gets busy. The phone rings less. Birthdays are missed. Holidays pass quietly. And the people you once thought would always be there, they vanish, little by little, in the noise of their own lives. That's the fourth truth. Out of sight really does become out of mind. And it hurts. More than anything, it hurts. Because you gave your life to these people. You raised them. You stood by them. And now, it feels like they've moved on. And the worst part? You can't say anything. You don't want to make them feel bad. You don't want to be a burden. So you smile when they call and you say, "Don't worry, everything's fine," when it's really not. You end up living between memories and waiting rooms. Waiting for meals. Waiting for medication. Waiting for the next familiar face to walk through the door. And when they don't, you pretend it doesn't break your heart. Now, I want to pause here, not to dwell on the pain, but to remind you of something important. You are not invisible. Even if the world around you begins to act like you are. Even if your family stops calling, or your friends fade away. Your worth is not measured by how often people check in. Your value didn't vanish with your youth. You are still here. Still breathing. Still capable of more than you think. But it leads us to another painful truth, and it's one that really shocked me. Not all staff care. I wish I could say otherwise. I wish I could say that every nurse, every aide, every caregiver was kind, gentle, and full of compassion. But that's not always the case. Some of them are overworked. Some are tired. But others, they're just cold. Detached. They do the bare minimum. And when you're dependent on them for your safety, your hygiene, your dignity, that indifference can feel like cruelty. I've seen residents ignored when they needed help to the bathroom. I've seen meals rushed and medicine handed out like factory parts. I've seen people scolded for asking too many questions. You don't always get a choice in who cares for you. And when you don't have a voice, when your complaints are brushed aside or labeled confused or difficult, that's when the danger sets in. That's when the system fails you. Because you're no longer seen as a person. You're a task. A shift. A number. And let me say this clearly, no one should ever be treated that way. You might think, well, I'd speak up. I wouldn't let that happen to me. But it's not that simple. When you live under someone else's roof, when they control your meals, your schedule, even your bathroom breaks, it's easy to fall silent. You become afraid of being labeled a problem. You stop pushing back. And once that happens, your power disappears. But here's what I've learned, and it took me too long to see it. The moment you stop advocating for yourself, no one else will do it for you. That's not pessimism. That's reality. So if you're thinking about moving into a home, or if someone is pressuring you to make that move, please, stop and ask the hard questions. Who will truly be looking out for you? Who will listen to you when you say something's wrong? And are you ready to let go of the independence you still have? Because once it's gone, it's hard to get it back. These are not easy truths. But ignoring them won't protect you. Facing them might. And you deserve to face them with your eyes wide open. Let's keep going. There's one more truth I need to share. And it might be the hardest one of all. Not because it's surprising, but because it's so often ignored. When you move into a nursing home, people start planning around your death instead of your life. It's subtle at first. The way doctors talk to you. The way family members bring up end-of-life paperwork. The way birthday cards suddenly shift tone, more nostalgic, more grateful you're still here. The conversations change. They stop asking about your goals and start asking about your comfort, your wishes, as if your future has shrunk into a countdown. And let me tell you, there is nothing more crushing than feeling like you've become a waiting room for death. You can feel it in the way people look at you, with pity, with weariness. As if they're already grieving you before you're gone. You might be alive, but they start treating you like a memory in progress. But here's what I want to say to you, loud and clear. You are not done. Not even close. As long as you have a voice, a heartbeat, a thought, you still have a life to live. You still have things to say, jokes to laugh at, people to love, wisdom to share. The world may try to shrink you down to a bed and a routine and a handful of pills, but don't let them. I spent too long in that place, not just the building but the mindset. I believed I was on the final page of the book, and that all I could do now was wait. But the truth is, I wasn't finished. I still had stories to tell. I still had mornings I wanted to wake up to. I still had hope. It was buried deep, but it was there. If you're watching this and you're over 60, over 70, even over 80, I want you to hear this like a whisper straight from your soul. You matter. Your comfort matters. Your dignity matters. But so does your purpose. So does your independence. So does your right to choose how this chapter goes. And don't let anyone, no matter how well-meaning, take that choice from you. I'm not saying nursing homes are always bad. Some are kind. Some are gentle. Some do their very best. But no institution, no matter how polished, can replace the feeling of waking up in your own space, with your own rules, your own memories, and your own rhythm. Because when you live on your terms, something magical happens. Your energy changes. You move differently. You think differently. You stop counting down the days and start living them again. And that shift, that spark, can be the difference between just existing and truly being alive. So what can you do? Start by questioning everything. Not with fear, but with clarity. Ask yourself, do I really need to move into a home? Or am I being rushed? Are there other ways I can get help without giving up my life? Home care, part-time assistance, community groups, there are more options than you think. And if staying at home is even remotely possible, fight for it. Next, speak up. Have the hard conversations with your children, your doctor, your partner. Tell them what you really want, not what you think they want to hear. Don't smile and nod out of politeness while your soul quietly screams. Say the words, I want to stay independent as long as I can. I'm not ready to give up my freedom. Because saying that isn't selfish. It's honest. And it might just wake someone up before it's too late. You've spent your entire life caring for others, raising families, working jobs, surviving decades of change. Now it's time to care for yourself. Fiercely, bravely, unapologetically. And if you've already made the move, and you're sitting there thinking, it's too late for me, let me tell you something. It's never too late to reclaim your voice. Start asking questions. Speak to the staff. Advocate for better care. Create new routines. Decorate your space. Write letters. Make phone calls. Demand that your days be filled with purpose and not just procedure. And don't give up on joy. It still belongs to you. You are not a burden. You are not finished. You are not fading. You are evolving. And maybe, just maybe, you're about to start one of the most important chapters yet. The one where you live fully, without apology, without regret. Now, I'd love to hear from you. If any of this resonated, if you've had a similar experience, please share your story in the comments. You're not alone. Your words could help someone else who's right at the edge of making a life-changing decision. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send it their way. If this video meant something to you, if it opened your eyes or stirred something in your heart, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us for more conversations that matter. Because no matter your age, your journey isn't over. Here's to living boldly, loving deeply, and never, never settling for less than you deserve. We'll talk soon.